At this time, I'd like to call the Tuesday, April 14 Committee of the Whole meeting. It's approximately 6:30 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilman Burgess, absent. Councilman Williams.
I'm here by virtue of teleconference.
Councilwoman Waldman. Here. Councilwoman Fairclough. Here. Vice Mayor Shelley.
Here.
Mayor Porter.
Here. Any additions, deletions, deferral? No? Tab 1 is the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
Move it.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Tab 2, Mr. Manager.
Mayor and Council, staff recommends that the Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution which authorizes the City Manager to enter into an agreement on behalf of the City of Homestead with the TAC Team LLC. The City of Homestead desires to retain a consultant to perform certain consulting services pertaining to citywide capital projects. Upon the terms of the agreement, the consultant will perform various services, including but not limited to assisting the city with project coordination and oversight to help ensure adherence to schedules and budget by all parties involved. The City Manager may renew the agreement for successive terms.
Questions from council? Any questions?
Yes. What firm is this again?
Mr. Williams, tab 2.
Okay. Yeah, I'm there.
Did you have a question, sir? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the name of the firm.
The name of the firm, Julio?
The name of the firm is TAC Team LLC.
Have we dealt with them before, or this is a new firm?
Yes, we have. We actually have some extensive experience dealing with this consulting firm.
Okay.
They've helped us out in the past, I guess the past 6 or 7 months on with this very type of services. They provided invaluable oversight to our construction management consultants to basically make sure that the city's concerns and the city's interests are maintained.
Okay. I just know they didn't look familiar. That's all.
Is there a motion to move forward to the council agenda?
Move it.
Moved and seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Tab 3, Mr. Manager.
Pete Waldman is here.
There we go. Mayor, council members, I'm here today to talk about a settlement to acquire the property located at 32 Northwest 1st Street pursuant to the Losner Park expansion. There was a settlement conference held with the property owner last month, and pursuant to that settlement conference, a deal was reached, including all fees and costs to acquire the property for $490,000. Just for point of reference, this is the Nikamex property. That amount, based on the most recent appraisal that was done for the property by Tom Magenheimer, and that appraisal was done on February 9th, 2015. That appraisal would indicate a range of values as high as $470,000. If this parcel had gone into litigation, meaning if we had to have filed an eminent domain case and litigated the eminent domain case, because pursuant to statute we would also have to pay the property owner's fees and costs, that would have been approximately another $45,000. So based on the range within the appraisal and a savings of cost, well, the cost added to that would have been over $500,000. So this settlement is well justified.
Pete, would you mind also talking about the last meeting we had, the option agreement for the Chinese restaurant? Could you just explain that as well as how this...
Right. At one point in the settlement discussions, we had talked to the property owner about buying another property that they were looking to locate to, and there was a resolution passed for the city to acquire an option to purchase that property. That's no longer part of this deal. The deal now is just a straight purchase of the property at 32 Northwest First Street.
If you recall, we had that discussion. We were hoping we wouldn't need it, but we wanted to lock that in, so we had that option. And so luckily, this is the simplest way to do it, and that we no longer will risk owning a Chinese restaurant, so we're fine. Now we own a Mexican restaurant instead.
Any questions from council? Ms. Wallman?
Sorry. What was the appraisal amount that was done in beginning of the year?
Based on the range of comps and with a focus on the income approach, because of the fact that this would be an income-producing property, you could have a tenant in there, it would indicate a value of approximately $470,000. And as I stated, if this case had gone into litigation, meaning the filing of an eminent domain case, we could expect that there would have been additional fees and costs of approximately $45,000. So that total would have been $515,000. This settlement is $25,000 under that.
May I find that to be really high. Did they provide comps with that? And
Yes, ma'am. And I'll refer to the market
do we have a
rents.
copy of that?
Based on a market rent of $18 a square foot, the building is 2,440 square feet. So the gross rent would have been $43,920. Using a 5% vacancy, you'd have an effective gross income of $41,724. Imputing operating expenses, professional fees, reserves for replacements, you'd have total operating expenses of $3,770. Net operating income would be $37,954, and utilizing a capitalization rate of 8%, based on various factors, that indicates a value of $474,425.
And they used the straight income approach. Did you
Using
see?
using a straight income approach. Now, I also have a sale.
Well, let me ask you a question,
Yes,
because you're throwing a lot of figures at me here. Did you actually see income tax returns? I mean, do you actually know that income was viable and that it was truthful?
I apologize, Council Member Waldman. The income approach is based on what the rents would be for that location. It's not based on business income. It's based on real estate income. So based on what kind of rent you could get on for the property, based on what other rents are, based on other rents in the market. So it's not an income approach in what you would consider, what you would think of in terms of a business. It's income approach based on the real estate. So no, it wouldn't be based on tax returns. It's based on our appraiser, Mr. Magenheimer, going out into the market and looking at rents for other properties, comparable properties.
And you said how much a square foot?
$18. There is there's various comps as high as $26.18 a square foot, and as low as $16 a square foot. If you use a sort of a middle comp of $18 a square foot, that's the comp that I use just based on the income approach I just went through.
Well, I have not done a recent rental comparable, but I have done a recent sales comparable.
Right.
And the highest sales comparable is approximately $13.50 a square foot.
Well,
So-
I'm sorry.
So, and by the way, we have the same last name, but just for the record,
Yeah,
we're
we're
not
not
related.
We cleared that up a couple of years ago.
I know, but for those that are just
Yes, ma'am.
joining in on the conversation, but I mean, I've done serious sales comparables, and
Well-
and they go anywhere from $8, I think maybe even $7, and this Chrome Avenue property. This is right
Yes,
on
ma'am,
Chrome
it's
Avenue.
just off of Chrome Avenue, 32 Northwest First Street. But we also have, other than the income approach, Mr. Magenheimer also looked at commercial building sales.
May I just caution you?
Yes, ma'am.
distant cousin from many mothers probably ago, whatever, but that when you say income approach, that you just said it again, that I immediately think of income approach, you know, the regular, what these
Yes,
people
ma'am.
are earning. So I don't know if we should call it rental approach. I don't know what we should
You
call
could
it.
call it that. That would be appropriate. That's pretty much what it is. But there are also some summary of commercial building sales, and there's one sale in particular that took place in September of 2014. So it's a fairly recent sale. The building size and the land are fairly similar. The subject property's land size is 7,500 square feet, and the building's 2,440 square feet. This particular sale, the land was a little bit less, 6,948, and the building 3,184 square feet. So the building was a little bit bigger. That sold for $499,000
And where was that?
at 1139 North Chrome Avenue, and it sold in September.
1139. So you're
Yes,
saying
ma'am.
11th Street and Chrome Avenue.
So approximately 3/4 of a mile north of the subject property. Fairly close.
I can tell you that within the year, the property at Chrome Avenue and probably 6th or 7th, I can't remember exactly that street, it's right behind Anne Marie's, that sold for $13 a square foot. And that's corner property on Chrome Avenue. I did not find that property you're speaking of. Give me the address again.
Yes, ma'am. It is 1139 North Chrome Avenue. The property that sold for $13 a square foot.
And that was vacant property.
Okay, these are improved properties. So these are properties that had buildings on them. So this actually sold for $156.72 a square foot of building plus land.
Still seems high, but I know that this is something we have to do, but I just often question how we go about coming to a price. And is there another realtor involved? Do you have a realtor involved in this, or
No,
was the property for sale before? Or
This is based on an appraisal done by an MAI, Mr. Magenheimer, who's been appraising all the properties that have been acquired for Losner Park and also for the new police headquarters. And in fact, this deal is very much in line with the deal that was reached for Mr. Doherty's property. It's consistent with that deal.
okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Is there a motion on tab 3?
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any final comments? Roll call, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank
Tab
you.
4.
Mayor and Council, on April 2015, Sequel Systems submitted a proposal for green building certification services to Rodriguez Quiroga for the police station project. This proposal includes a path to pursue green building certification under the Green Globes Initiative rating system. The project will pursue the certification to comply with the requirement of the Energy Conservation and Sustainability Building Act as per Florida statutes. Staff recommends the Mayor and Council to approve the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the proposed agreement with Sequel Systems, Inc. for additional services associated with environmental compliance with Green Globes for the new police station. The total amount of the contract will not exceed $77,175.
This is required, we're required to meet these standards?
Yes, this is a Florida State's requirement, yeah.
Okay. Questions from council? Is there a motion?
I'll move it, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tab 4? Tab 5?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. On card number 1443, South Florida Water Management District is requesting that the mayor and council authorize the city manager to waive usage fees in the amount of $500 for the use of FICO Williams Community Center on May 7, 2015, to host the Water Resource Advisory Commission. According to the City Code, Chapter 20, Section 2011, fees and charges, the City Council set fees and has the right to waive Parks and Recreation fees by majority vote. And we also have a representative here from South Florida Water Management.
But let me start by saying I was approached by Charles LaPrade from Miami-Dade County Ag with regards to the question as to South Florida Water Management holding water at an extremely high level, and they needed a place to have a meeting. And I think the manager, you had told me there were some questions that the city had in reference to holding water. So this was kind of a way for us to get an opportunity to have water management not only address the questions that are regarding the ag industry, but also the possible negative effects that the manager felt like the city may be realizing as well. So if that's why this is before us, because it gave us an opportunity, you know, to have a face-to-face, not only the ag community, but us as a city as well. So if you would like to speak, Mr. Manager, do you have anything to say? No. If you'd like to speak on behalf of this, you're welcome to.
I'd like to move it forward.
Okay, there's a motion by Ms. Waldman. Is there a second?
Second.
Did you want to say anything? You're welcome to talk, but I think.
Good afternoon. I was here on behalf of the South Florida Water Management District on this item. The Water Resource Advisory Commission will be down here on May 7th, and we will be looking at that situation in South Dade. We will also be looking at several other projects in South Dade that are of great interest. The purpose of this commission is to create consensus between all stakeholders, private citizens, businesses, ag community, government officials, and just basically explain what the details of these projects, what the future of these projects are in any detail, and answer any questions that you may have. And that will definitely be on the agenda for our meeting on May 7th.
Okay. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any final comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, sir. Tab 6.
Tab 6 is a resolution to approve a land and water conservation project agreement. Staff recommends that mayor and council approve the attached resolution to authorize the city manager to accept and execute the agreement between the City of Homestead and Florida Department of Environmental Protection Land and Water Conservation Fund Program for the construction of outdoor recreation at Mayor Roscoe Warren Municipal Park. The grant is $200,000 with a dollar match for a total project of $400,000. Impact fees will be used to match the grant. Also, staff is recommending that we work with the grant writer to transfer this grant to Losner Park expansion. If the transfer is allowed by them, then we will bring this back to council again. To give you a little feedback on this grant, when I first applied for the $200,000 grant for Mayor Roscoe Warren Trail to go around the soccer fields, we put that in this year's budget. That's going to be happening soon. The grant writer notified me and let me know that they gave me an additional $200,000. So I thought, since we already got this going in the pipeline, I thought this $200,000 can help us out in Losner Park. And I think this would be a great thing to do. Hopefully that the grant writer will work with the environmental to make that happen.
Ms. Waldman?
I was just getting ready to cancel because I just wanted to make sure that that everyone understood that we're not taking anything away from Roscoe Warren, that the $200,000 was there. This was just a surprise that we received another $200,000. And as Dennis said, if the grant administrator does not allow us to use the money in Losner Park, we'll have to come back before you again. I just don't want there to be any confusion, because this was just a little birthday present for us. So I just wanted you to understand that. But Dennis, you did a great job. I was just getting ready to cancel my speaking in line. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ms. Fairclough?
Thank you. My question was partially asked and answered also. But just to follow up, so the original $2,000 was for walking trails around Mayor Wasco Warren Park?
Councilman Fairclough, that's correct. Last year, we applied for a grant. We were awarded a grant. We also put it in this year's budget, so it's already in the budget which you all passed. We're getting ready to do the RFP pretty soon. It's going to be a walking trail that will connect to the existing trail, but it will go around the soccer fields and then connect on the other side with exercise equipment around it, with benches and garbage cans.
Are there any restrictions? Well, you probably don't know that yet. If we are to receive these grant funds for Losner Park, are there certain type of outdoor recreation activities or different things you are required to do? Or do we have the autonomy to kind of put our own spin on it?
Everything that's on the contract now is exactly what we could use at Losner Park. That's why I thought it would be a great idea to do it.
So what was the total cost for the walking trails?
It's a matching grant, so it was $400,000.
$400,000. And what is the timeline for moving forward with that?
Right now, of course, procurement's been really busy with the other projects, but we're starting the RFP soon, and hopefully we'll have it done by October. That's what we're hoping.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Maldonado?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I'm not clear. So, were you guys already going to do this trail? You had $200,000, and then you applied for a grant to get an additional $200,000?
Councilman, what happened was I was already awarded the $200,000.
Okay.
I already put it in the budget.
Okay.
And you already passed it. The thing is, the grant writer called me up recently and said, hey, they gave you an additional $200,000 more dollars.
Thank you.
So that's why I thought it would be a great idea to use these funds at Losner Park since we want to expand it.
Yeah, I wasn't too clear on that, but so that was my next question. If there's an additional 200. Perfect, thank you. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
They're both matching grants, Dennis?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. Any final?
Just one last question. Any plans that you guys are going to put up, what it's going to look like to let the community know in regards to that, or is that a secret?
For Losner Park?
Yeah.
We're still working with the Sasaki company.
Oh, we got plenty of process. The architects that were hired, Sasaki Landscapes, we afforded each of you an opportunity to meet with them first. Then what's going to happen is we've seen some general sketches. We had some suggestions for them because of the proximity of what they had suggested next to the police station, which we had concerns about. They're going to come back with a revised draft, and then they're going to meet with each of you individually, and then we're going to have a discussion in public as well. And then there's a lot of discussion because what we asked them to do is really shoot for the stars. So what they have is a really ambitious plan. And so it begs the question, how are you going to pay for that? And we don't have that answer yet. So
Thank you. Excellent, though. Sounds good.
Okay, is there a motion on tab 6?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tab 7?
That'll be my last one. This would be a motion to approve resolution. Staff is recommending that mayor and council approve the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to submit a memorandum of agreement with the Urban and Community Forestry Grant, requesting a grant up to $30,000 for the Losner Park with a stipulation of a 1-to-1 match fund ratio. The city will use the Losner Park expansion project expenditures towards the match. Let you know it's from $10,000 to $30,000. So hopefully we get to $30,000, but it came up from my grant writer. My grant writer called me up and I said, let's go for it. So that's what we're going on this one.
Questions from council? Ms. Fairclough?
Yes, I have a quick question. So if we receive this grant here, I think this could really help if the grant will allow to add more like plush green space in the downtown district. Will we be allowed to do that?
On the stipulation on some of them, we are looking at grants right now for the downtown area and landscaping, just to let you know, for the Main Street. We have our grant writer looking for that. There is some funds out there for that. We thought since the expansion, we do have to do some landscaping there. So we thought at least get some extra funds for this to help us through this for the, to save money.
Because through the mayor, I was looking at the historic downtown district master plan that was sent to us by Joe Corandino, and the suggestions that they put for Losner Park and the green space is very beautiful. But I'm like, how are we going to pay for that? So if we can procure some grants to help pay for that and add that beautiful landscaping down there, I think that'd be a big deal for the downtown.
And like I said, Councilman Faircloth, we are working on that. Our grant writer's really on top of a lot of grants for us. He's been doing a great job. And I told him that was one of our missions for the downtown area. So we're hoping to get more.
Ms. Waldman?
No, I was just going to say that we are being very aggressive with grants, and you're going to see more and more, hopefully, come before you. So we know that that's the only way that we can have that lush, beautiful look that we want, is to go after these grants. So I just wanted to say that Dennis and I were on the phone for over 2 hours today, just talking about prospective plans as far as beautification, and Losner Park is going to be the main focus. So I spent quite a bit of time with the architect for, what is it, Suzaki, and they're great. I mean, they can draw on paper anything you want it to be. But we know realistically that in order to do that, we have to have grants. And this grant writer that Dennis has found has been phenomenal.
Been great.
And we used to have an in-house grant writer in Parks and Recs, but we don't have that anymore. But I think this person has even found more grants for us.
Yes.
So I'm very excited, and hopefully as we select a plan and a blueprint as what we really want Losner Park to look like, those will be very specific grants that we'll be going after. We're just trying to, with these smaller grants, just to squeeze them in somewhere in Losner Park that we know that we can utilize. We don't want to give them up, that's for sure. We want to utilize them. So, thank you. Pray for us.
Any final questions, comments? Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a motion? It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Tab 8.
Through the manager, mayor, vice mayor, council. This item is a report of an emergency purchase. In accordance with section 2-413B1I of the city code, staff is required to notify the mayor and council at the next meeting of any emergency purchases that have occurred. The electric utility was required to act on an emergency purchase for repair work to a power plant underground cable. This emergency purchase was needed to maintain operations in the city's utilities and avoid a future disruption of service. The work was awarded to Cable Wizard Corp. In the amount of $84,762.82. An email was sent out to the mayor and council at the end of March detailing this emergency purchase. And
What do you need from us, Mr. Manager? I know it's already been done.
It's just we're required to notify you, so this is just procedure.
Right. So everyone knew about the emergency purchase.
You don't need a vote. You don't need a vote.
no.
Okay.
It's just procedure.
Just procedural. Okay. Any questions from council on this item, item 8? Okay, so we'll go to tab 9.
Tab 9, we're seeking some direction from council regarding a mutual operations agreement with the Homestead Air Reserve Base, which, if implemented, would allow the Homestead Air Reserve Base to partner with the city to provide mutually beneficial training opportunities for the reserve base and the city alike, and they would include pole climbing training, electrical training, water and sewer operations training, and there was discussion also about emergency operations. We also have Lieutenant Colonel Brent Hayden here from the Homestead Air Reserve Base. And Colonel Hayden says he would happily respond to any questions that you all might have.
This, Colonel, you can come to the podium. This, obviously, we've been involved, I as mayor have been involved in some of this P4 discussion with the Air Force. So if you want to go ahead and explain a little bit.
Certainly, yes, sir. Thanks. The concept behind this agreement.
Just the top of it.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. I'm the civil engineer squadron commander. I've got 140 airmen, engineer technicians in multiple trades that the mission of the air base is to train and project power. These airmen, I've been training them for quite a while on various different job tasks, but haven't. Homestead Air Reserve Base is a small base, and so we don't have access to a lot of the things that I need to be able to give them a full, robust training experience. Some of the initial ideas behind this training partnership came to light when we realized that the city of Homestead has pole climbing equipment, electrical poles. I don't have access to the safety gear to do that. So other disciplines, quickly we realized there's other disciplines that we could use to benefit in a training partnership. Concept is no cost. No money transferred from one side to the other, minimizing risk to both sides, of course. Current status on the draft agreement is the attorneys are working out the indemnification wording. We want to make sure that we put it together such that we don't put you at risk, nor put our airmen nor the Air Force at risk. And once we get that worked out, as well as a non-binding letter of support from you conceptually tonight, then I need to pursue approval of the concept through Air Force channels, which I expect positive approval from. It'll have to go to the Secretary of the Air Force, but I do expect positive approval from their office.
And on the heels of that, the discussion circles around the partnership between Homestead and the Air Force Base would actually significantly improve your ability to be a more sustainable base and work your way through the BRAC, the shutdown processes that normally occur. And there's more than just the things that I think Ms. Quinones and you were talking about tonight. It's a much broader approach to leveraging each other's ability to support back and forth one another. So I think it's a great first step, and there may be other opportunities for us to partner in other circumstances based on the meetings that I've been able to attend. But at this particular, and any questions from council about this, Mr. Attorney? I mean, you guys you've looked at it, subject to the final agreement.
Yes, as Lieutenant Colonel said, we're just trying to work out the indemnification language at this point.
Okay. Any comments from the council? Any questions from the council?
Other than great job, I'm glad to hear that. I think that's a great opportunity, Ms. Quinones, the mayor, and a representative from the base. I think that's great. There's so many, we have so many military personnel here, so it'd be great to see them get involved with the city. Maybe there's some other areas where they could help out or be a part of as well, not only the utilities. So it might be the start of something that's a good working agreement. Good job.
So what do you need? Anyone opposed to moving forward?
Well, there is a non-binding letter of support, a draft. It could obviously be reworded if council would like that. But the base is looking for that non-binding letter of support from the city council so that they feel comfortable in moving forward.
The majority of council here willing to sign this non-binding agreement. That's what you need from us. Anyone opposed to signing it? Okay, you got what you need. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Tab 10. Ms. Fairclough, you want to take that?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. We discussed this a couple months ago about expanding the hours for our trolley system to support those high school students that have to be to school at 7:20 a.m. But beyond that, and on the heels of heightened conversations as it relates to the expansion of mass transit to Homestead and Florida City, I think as municipalities, we can do a little bit more within our power to support those commuter-dependent residents who rely on public transportation. So basically, the idea behind this is our trolleys start at 8 a.m. So what we would like to do, and this is the Education Committee, is to start the trolley system at 6 a.m. for those residents who have to be to work by 8 a.m. and for those students who have to be to school by 7:20 a.m. So we kind of gave Julio the green light to look at the numbers to see how much it would cost us. So basically, the city of Homestead receives close to about $1 million per year in people transportation funds. So of that close to $1 million, 20% is allocated for mass transit. This is mass transit. So if we were to expand our trolley operation hours to begin at 6 a.m., it costs roughly about $46,000. So my question to Julio, how much money do we have now in the pot of that 20% allocated for mass transit?
Well, the 20% is a minimum that's required.
minimum, right.
It's a minimum. We can, if cities choose to use 100% of the PTP funding for mass transit, they're allowed to do so. Right now, we're in the realm of about 30% that we use for mass transit. This would definitely, it wouldn't impact our operations because we do have the monies available for it. It's just, in essence, that's the cost, the additional cost that it will take to operate the trolleys for an extra 2 hours per day. One thing that I would like to caution is that we should not promote this as a school transportation service.
No.
It's just public transportation,
Right.
and basically anybody can use it who wants to use it for whatever purpose they want to use it for.
Absolutely.
So we just want to make sure that people don't rely on this service to be able to get to school or anything else, because it's not meant for that purpose. It's meant for public transportation to get people from one point to another in a convenient fashion.
Right, through the mayor. Yes, I agree with you. And this is not for just schools. This is for everyone who has to access public transportation earlier in the morning. So, in your professional opinion, if we move in this direction, the $46,000 will not pose a hardship on the city financially?
No, I do not. No, it would not. It would not. Not from the monies that we have available from PTP, we can cover this.
And what, I just wanted to make it, be clear, and what we are proposing to do, this is precisely what people transportation funds are intended for. Mass transit and allowing our commuters access to public transportation. It's not limited by the hours of operation or anything of that sort. Is that correct?
Correct. And every city or municipality can set whatever hours they deem is necessary for them to provide the service that they want to provide.
Okay. So how will we move forward with this? What are your thoughts? Just want to kind of get some feedback from my colleagues. Is this something that you support? Can we move forward with extending the hours to begin at 6 a.m. to help our residents be able to access public transportation?
Mr. Maldonado?
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a great idea. I know that is an issue that we've been discussing, and transportation is key. Whenever I travel to other states throughout the U.S. and I see their transportation system that's, in my opinion, way more advanced than down here, I get very jealous. And I see the importance of it. And so I support this. I guess my only question, I think Julio already answered, we're not going to be impacting any other monies that have to do with transportation. It's not like we're going to take from something to fund this?
Correct. We would not. We have reserves that will cover this. Yeah.
And I guess maybe my only suggestion is just to make sure that, obviously we need to get the word out so everyone's aware of it and they can take advantage of it, but I guess we need to somehow track it to make sure that it's effective, that it's working.
We do track ridership on all our routes, so that's something that is required since we're using federal dollars that we purchased the trolleys with. we are required to keep tabs of the ridership. So that will continue to move forward, and we will be able to track and see if it's actually created an added demand on the trolley, added service, and we will see that right away because the numbers come in on a weekly basis.
When can we see those numbers? When do you give those numbers to the council?
We get them on a monthly basis. I can make them available to the council. We can send an email to all the council members showing the numbers on a monthly basis.
Just to see what's going on. It'd be great to keep track of it, and if anyone asks a question, the answer's right there for us.
Absolutely.
That's all for right now. Thank you.
Ms. Wallman?
Yes. I'm all for it, starting at 6. I mean, don't underestimate what I'm going to say here, but I know we had a conversation sometime back about what is the age limit of kids being able to ride without an adult. I know we talked about that, but I don't remember if they were going to come back to us or.
Again, we have to follow the requirements of the county public transportation service, and in essence, we as a public transportation system, we don't monitor. In other words, people don't have to show an ID to show how old they are. We just basically provide the service to get people from point A to point B. So we do not check for age, or nor does any public transportation system.
So anybody can, whether you're 6 years old or 16 years old, you can get on that trolley.
Again, we don't check. We
Okay.
don't check for that.
Or do we have a liability?
Well, there is a liability, obviously, and this trolley service is fully insured. It's a private company that we're using, and they're fully insured and have the city as one of the named covered entities in the policy.
The only reason I'm saying this is because I know we had the discussion, but I can't remember if we ever got back an answer. And the other day, I was at the library and I saw they exited on Campbell Drive over in front of the Ruby Tuesday. Probably about 6 or 8 kids, and they came to the library, and they were great. You know, I mean, it was great that they were able to do that. But I just noticed that they were not there was not an adult with them, and they were little. Okay, just asking. But I'm all for the 6 o'clock.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, to echo what everyone else has said, I think I'm supportive of it. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially given the fact that most people have to be at work by 8 o'clock or so. So it seems like a great way to, help facilitate that. And I agree with Councilman Maldonado as well. I think it's something that we track and we look at, a year, 2 years from now, whatever the case might be, and then evaluate at that time. Is it effective? Is it something to continue, cost-benefit analysis? But I think it makes sense to start it earlier.
And I agree. As long as we couch it as an expansion of services,
Right.
not a service provided to educational components, just an expanded service allowed to the community. Because, as everybody says, very few people can leave their house at 8 o'clock and get to work by 8 o'clock. So I think it makes really good sense in that scheme to look at it from that perspective. Ms. Faircloth, do you have anything else? No.
Sorry,
Mr. Maldonado?
Thank you. Just in regards, one of the questions that I come across, it's the time. We don't know what time exactly. We know it's what's the time frame? Every 15 minutes per stop? Every 10?
No, actually, this route, both routes are about an hour long. In essence, it takes an hour for the trolley to make a complete loop. So every hour there'll be a stop at a particular spot. So we are going to get more trolleys, and the FTA has already approved the county to receive a certain amount, and we're on that list. So we're on the list to get an additional 2. At that point, we need to make a decision: do we want to double up, have 2 trolleys per route, or expand and do some other routes? At that time, we'll do that analysis. For now, they're still going through the federal government, trying to see how they're going to finance, but there was some additional monies available from the FTA for additional trolleys. And I think that was brought to the council, I think about a year ago, for the 2 additional trolleys, and that's in the process right now, moving forward.
And I guess I think the council would like to be a part of the process and figuring out if we're going to expand, you know, how that works. I know that you and I worked on it in the past. We spoke about expansion. I never followed up with it, but definitely would like to discuss that. One more question in regards to our trolley system. You know, applications, is there a possible way of tracking the trolleys system, the trolleys that are passing by? I know they're Miami-Dade County and throughout other transportation systems, there's a way to know when the buses are coming and the trains are coming. I know the trolleys are small, but is there somehow a way that we could track it so that those who are using it could take advantage of it? I could tell you, when I was in D.C. Just a couple weeks ago, I had the app, and it was like I was a godsend. I mean, I knew exactly where I had to be at what time, and I didn't skip a beat. Everything worked out great. And so, again, taking what's out there, what's happening, to what we're doing that's new, and can we apply that somehow? Do we have funds? Is it something we could do? At some point, we need to work on that, if possible.
The technology is available, but of course, all technology comes with a cost attached to it. We have what we provide here is a free service, which I'm sure the one that you went in Washington, D.C. was not free.
Right.
So that is something that, I mean, we have to weigh I guess the benefit with the additional cost that it would take to do that. But yes, the technology is available to have GPS tracking and be able to tell you the next bus is going to come in the next 15 minutes, etc. But all that comes at a cost. It comes at a price.
Mr. Manager, maybe something that you guys could look at some point.
Sure.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, then Ms. Fairclough.
Yeah, just related to the expansion concept, I know we did have this discussion a while back about possibly, you know, expanding the route. And one of the discussions was, as we expand it, the length of time for that route, you know, keeps extending and becomes less and less efficient, so that if you're waiting to use it, it becomes less advantageous because you have to wait an hour between trolleys versus, say, 20 minutes, I think was where it was when we started.
Yeah, when we started, yes.
But one of the things I think that I remember we discussed at one time was the idea of doing these spur routes, because there was the idea of trying to add some of these other locations, but they weren't exactly on the main route. So rather than take the main trolley and try to go out, you know, kind of off the main route, then back on the main route and add time, there was some discussion about maybe using, you know, like say a van. So you'd have a van that ran the spurs, and then you would have the main route. And that way the main route would still be, say, 25 or 30 minutes between trolleys. Yeah. And then if you wanted to get off there, you know, and it was a cheaper way than, say, buying additional trolleys, you know, because you could get a van much cheaper than you could get another trolley. So I know that was something that was kind of batted around and discussed. But so when we talk about expansion, we talk about additional trolleys, you know, also include a cost-benefit analysis to see, does it make sense to maybe acquire some smaller vehicles to run spur routes so that we can keep the main route, you know, more efficient. So I just want to make sure that that doesn't get lost in the shuffle as we go forward.
Absolutely, that's important.
Ms. Fairclough?
Very good suggestion, Vice Mayor Shelley. One thing we forgot to mention, Julio and I had discussed that if this is approved, we'll launch it in the fall to give us time to be able to market it as expanded hours for our trolley services. So I just wanted you to know that little piece there. We wanted to launch it this fall in August.
Mr. Manager?
Just on a somewhat related matter, transportation that is, somebody I know stayed here on Saturday night, and they went to a wedding, and they didn't want to drive afterwards, and they used Uber, and they said it worked great. So if you haven't heard of any Uber users yet, they used it, and they loved it. So I know we don't have many taxis around here. The taxis don't seem to want to come down here, but Uber seems to be something that's available. So whether they'll put them out of business or not, I don't know, but we'll see.
Ms. Waldman?
Funny you should say that. Because when I was in Tallahassee this last week, I had a discussion with the Chamber of Commerce representatives that were there. We haven't had a taxi cab service in Homestead in probably 30, 40 years. Yeah. I mean, my uncle back in the late 1940s drove a cab here in Homestead. And there may have been one afterwards, just shortly in maybe the 50s, early 60s. And I know it's expensive for somebody to start a taxi cab service because they have to buy those, you know, right now with the union, they have to buy these little medallions or whatever that allows them to drive their insurance. But
the larger problem is the availability of medallions and the county's control over the taxi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was talking to this person about Uber, And they were listening, but I don't know if they were really listening. But Chief, you know what a service that would be if we had some sort of taxi service here in Homestead. I mean, oftentimes, people may not mean to, but they might have one extra glass of wine or one extra cocktail as they're talking, and they shouldn't be driving. And right now there's no service, absolutely no service to help, or even people who don't drive.
Is there an objection to having the city attorney look at what options we might have to have some sort of taxi system here, because the county is controlling it, and I think like most other places in Florida, it's the areas that don't have as much business have a harder time getting taxis here.
Right.
And maybe there's something creative we could do to create a taxi system here.
Mayor, I would love to champion that. I mean, just something. I mean, our trolleys are wonderful, but if you want to go to the airport, or if you need to go to, you're elderly, you need to go to the grocery store, you don't drive, it's so nice to have some service. So
right, and right now you can't get a taxi.
No, there's no taxi.
So other than Uber, right now in Uber, there's a giant controversy over should they be licensed, and government's trying to put them out of business because it's basically independent people that volunteer to take on customers, and it's all web-based and mobile phones. But having a taxi service also brings the legitimacy of licensing, and whether we're able to create some other system or not, we'd need to research.
I'd love to look into that.
When they find out how to tax it,
Mayor, this is Jimmy
when they find
Williams.
out how to tax it, they'll. Is that all?
Yeah, I'm just really excited. Thank you.
The Vice Mayor, then Mr. Williams.
On the heels of that, actually, while I was in Tallahassee last week, I did speak with some taxi operators up there in Bob Levy's office. So start with him. He's got some contacts, and those particular taxi companies were interested in coming and expanding to Homestead. So it was something they want to have discussions. I don't know the details of how any of that works, but if you start with him, he can put you in contact with, and maybe we can see what we can do to get taxis here.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I know there's some bills that are moving. I'm in Tallahassee this week, and I know there's some bills moving on this subject this week. So we may want to just check. But as I was in the House today, there's some bills, well, not in the House, but more in the Senate today. There's some bills moving to deal with this issue. And so we may perhaps want to see where these bills may land, perhaps before we engage, just as cautionary reason. And I know this because I'm up here now. So, maybe perhaps we want to look at that a little bit more to see where these bills are moving. Because most of some of the bills that I was reading and listening to today, could be in conflict or could be helpful, but perhaps we would like to engage in that a little bit more.
All right, sir. Ms. Wallman, you brought it up, so it's yours to handle it or deal with it. One thing to Julio, as we talk about expanding services and PTP, obviously it's a big pot of money. So if we move monies, unless the PTP continues to expand, which it should, when we take money and put it over all into the trolley, it's going to affect another project. So just as the analysis, so that we know there is a pot of money, but when we move it from one side of PTP into the trolley, it may affect another project that we need to be careful of. So
correct.
Just for future.
Yeah, we track that basically 5 years in advance. And
right.
And you're right, the pot of money has grown every year.
Right.
Substantially. So every year we do get a little bit more than the previous year. So.
But in this case, everybody's in favor of moving forward with this concept of the expanded services. So, okay. Tab 12.
Mayor, Catherine from our Director of Customer Service has a brief presentation. We wanted to update you on some of the improvements that we've been making and some of the changes to the business, just like Uber and a lot of internet related impacts to business. You'll see how that's impacted us at customer service.
Okay.
Mayor Porter, council members, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The Customer Service Department has been listening to our customers and have made significant improvements in our operations. Prior to 2011, our customers had to wait in long lines at the drive-thru and in the lobby. In February 2011, this was changed. We eliminated walk-in customers for regular bill payments and the drive-thru. Here's what our services looked like then. Here's what our offices look like now. We became more efficient because we added Amscot and Western Union as our payment centers. In 2009, we had one payment center. Today, we have 14 conveniently located centers in and around the Homestead area. As part of our improvements, we redesigned our website. All of our customers' forms are added on the website now. In November of last year, we added a new and improved online bill pay system. To assist customers in registering with this bill pay system, we added a tutorial. This is what you'll see, a snippet of it now.
Welcome to Homestead Public Services. This video will show you how to pay your utility bill online. Open your web browser and enter www.cityofhomestead.com/billpay in the search bar. Now on this page you'll be able to manage your account and pay your utility bill, which includes water, electricity, and sanitation services. Paying your bill online is quick and easy.
That was just a small part of the tutorial. The tutorial is also offered in Spanish and in Creole. In the past 3 years, we have seen a 25% decline in walk-in customers. Correspondingly, we have seen an increase in our online and money order payments. The call center operations saw the majority of the improvements. We added additional staff. We engaged in outside call service to help us with the overflow calls, reducing our call wait times to 5 minutes. We added Creole speakers to our staff. We now accept fax and email applications. We eliminated the need for leases. We offer same-day reconnections for customers paying before noon and plan to expand that to 3 p.m. in the near future. We provide call center assisted payments for customers who may not have access to the internet or are unable to use our interactive voice response system. We have eliminated deposits for customers who sign up for automated bank drafting. Additional planned improvements are customer service informational brochure for all of our customers, but in particular our real estate agents. We'll be redesigning our website, eliminating a lot of the verbiage and making it more user-friendly. Plans are also underway to enhance our online bill pay system. We will be providing our customers with 12 months actual bills as opposed to the mini statement that is currently available. We will be coming to you, the council, for some needed changes to our codes, most notably in our reconnection fees. If you look at the slide here, you'll see that our highest tier, we have a tiered system, and our highest tier is about 150% more than the next highest municipality. Our customers who are disconnected 3 times within a year are required to pay $212.60 to be reconnected. We will be sealing our water meters similar to the way we have our electric meters sealed, and we will be coming to you for some needed changes in the meter tampering code. We will continue to reach out to our customers through regular meetings in the community and key business groups. Our commitment to you is personal. After all, you're not just our customers, you're our neighbors.
Ms. Wallman.
Why is mine not working?
Okay.
A long time ago.
I'm very proud of you, Catherine, and your team for implementing all these things. But I have to say that Jerry Estrada, Barbara, Julio, you remember the marathon meetings that we had back in 2010. You know, at that time I had formed the first customer service task force, and I mean, we worked so hard. If you only knew how bad it was before then, you would have just have no idea. And I'm very proud of you, Catherine, and your team, because I think I was the first one that you and Kate came to talk to, and I don't think you realized, you know, the vision, because we didn't have anybody to put it in place. But the vision was there. And I remember one meeting lasting 5.5 hours that I took. And Jerry and Julio and Barbara were really sick of me that day. But we had to go back from the very beginning. I mean, it was just horrible. But I am so proud. And I know we had 13. I know I'd gone out and I think there were 13 payment centers. And in my vision was to eliminate everything that we could eliminate so that we could be more efficient. And the disconnect fees, that's something I did not do in my task force process. But I'm so thrilled that you're looking at those. And I read your whole package here in our book. I think that's so smart to put a formula in place and make it so people can understand, because right now it's terrible. And I'm just very proud of you. And I want to give you a cake or something. I mean, it's such a long time, and it was a vision that I had years ago, and I'm just so grateful that we now have a city manager and a staff in place that can bring these things to fruition. So you might be getting a cake over there at customer service pretty soon. But thank you so much for all that you do, the entire staff. Thank you so much.
Mr. Maldonado.
Thank you, Mayor. It's funny, every time I call over there, I call just a regular phone number as just a regular citizen and just to get my things taken care of. And I'm proud to say that the last phone call that I had was excellent. I try to hold back my name as long as possible and give as much information to try to get things moving in the right direction. And the person that attended me did a fabulous job. And even as I said my name, didn't even blink and hey, how's it going? No, it was from the beginning to the end. It was the same tone, and it was a professional tone, and it was I was well taken care of. I didn't want to feel any special treatment or anything, and I never do, never expect it. And so I was very proud that and believing that every citizen is going to get that same attention that I got. And so kudos to you and your staff. I was extremely happy for the experience that I had. I'm just a regular citizen. One day I will not be sitting here, and I just want to call in and have my issues resolved. So my goal, and I believe our goal, is always just to make our citizens' experience much better. So thank you for what you're doing, and I applaud your effort.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Manager.
I wanted to add a little bit something to Catherine's presentation, which is in the documents that you have before you, which is in light of the customer habits that are changing due to technology, we really at this point feel that we need more resources and effort on the call center operation. And since we have so many additional walk-in locations throughout the city, going from 1 to 15 is a lot. And also, as of in the near future, through AMSCOT, you'll be able to walk into any AMSCOT location in the country. So, and is it Western Union too, or just AMSCOT? Western Union too. So it's all over the country. What we'd like to do, since we're in the process of constructing City Hall, is we just want to make sure you're comfortable with the concept of reconfiguring what we were planning to do for the front lobby to be more of a walk-in center to now reconfiguring it to be more of a call center so that we can apply those energies to the call center, which represents, believe it or not, 98% of the customers make their payments by phone, online, drop, and by mail or by Dropbox. So that's the bulk of where we really want to apply our energies right now. So if you're comfortable with us doing that, we can start reconfiguring the space before we open the City Hall.
Any questions to the manager? Any concerns about allowing that change? I think you're good.
Thank you.
Anything else? Not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.